Hey, welcome back. So in this video, it's going to be our last video for our rollerball game. We're going to go ahead and build out our game. Um, Basically package it so that we can take it and play it on any other computer that we want to. You don't have to just do it inside of the Unreal Engine environment anymore. We can go ahead and take it and play it just as if it were a separate game. And I'll show you that here in just a second. First, if you're just joining me for the first time, you can check us out at Putting on the Fritz 3D Visualization. This is the rollerball game. We have it from the start all the way to this video now. And if you like what you see, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm talking about by packaging the project. Okay, let's get rid of that title. There we go. All right, so what we're looking at here is inside my project, so the rollerball game, I have a couple folders that I put together here for where I built out the game, okay? And really what it is packaging, okay? And we'll show you all the settings for that here in a minute. So if I go in there, there's this folder called Windows, and this is, we can rename it obviously. I just left it the way it is so you can see what it looks like. And inside that Windows folder, this is what will be generated when you package your project. And then if we go inside there, all of these folders, these documents and stuff, you'll need in order to run this. This manifest, not necessarily, but it's good to keep it with it. But then here's the application. So if I double click on the application, what will happen is my game will pop up, and now it'll work just like a regular game. Go ahead and hit start. Okay, and then it'll go into my environment here. Okay, and we can play the game. Hit P to pause the game just like we did before. Escape won't work unless you set escape up as something to work, but we did not. So in this case, you hit P and then hit the quit. Ends the game. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how we got to this point. I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way for a moment. Okay. All right, so a few things let's go ahead and take a look at first. I'm going to talk about build real quick. So we have all of the different builds that we can do here. Now you can click on this build all levels, but if you pause over it for a second, you'll see all of this writing here to the right. I keep trying to hover over it. If you don't have this stuff working, or if you have static lighting disabled and things like that in your project settings, shader model 5, so these type of things could cause an error and could crash it. So I haven't used this very often with success. I have successfully crashed my Unreal Engine a few times trying to use it. So usually I'll just go through and I'll build things out individually because we're not using all of this anyway. This particular game does not have a world partition. There's no navigation paths, so we don't need to worry about that. But let's go ahead and start up here at the top. Okay, so our build lighting quality, if we pop down to that real quick, for those of you that are following along with this and you're in my classroom, because those computers are used by multiple students across different classes, trying to build this out at anything higher than preview, we're just not going to be able to do. The computers struggle as it is, I think, right now. They are a few years old, and trying to go any higher probably won't work. But those of you on your own computers or at home following along with this, you can certainly try whatever your computer will handle to run and build all of your levels out with your desired production quality here if you want, high quality, medium. Just be aware that depending on your processor, your graphics card and stuff like that, it may take a very long time to build these out. I'm just going to leave it at preview, and we should have already built out our lighting as we did in one of the previous videos. All right, so unless you, of course, change anything. If you change stuff, then you have to go back through and rebuild your lighting. All right, then we're not using any reflection captures in this particular project, but if you are, then you can certainly build out your reflection captures. Okay, so this one, the first one I'm going to stop at here is build geometry. I'm going to click on that, and it should just kind of go that quick because we built them out a few times. We don't have a lot of geometries in our 3 levels, most likely, and it should just go through pretty quickly. If you get an error that pops up, read what it is. If it is a triangle that's yellow, that's a caution. read what it is. But a lot of the times those are things like LOD levels, or things with some of your UVs overlapping and such like that. And those are okay as long as they're cautions. If it's an error, an actual red error, then you'll need to address it. All right, so let's go back up to here to build again. Okay, so we don't need paths. We don't have any world partition. We don't need to worry about any of this. Texture streaming. We're not doing any texture streaming. All right, so landscapes. We could build all landscapes. So click on that. And this is another one you could end up with some errors on it. Now, we don't actually have any landscapes if you followed along exactly the way I did it. My particular third level, I do have some landscapes, so that's fine. We can build out all of this if you wanted to do that only. We don't need to worry about it. All right, so that's pretty much it for everything that we're going to build out. Yeah, okay. So now let's go ahead and jump on over to this right here where it says platforms. We're going to click the down arrow. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to package settings right here. Okay, so click on package settings. And this window should pop up. And if you type in list of, so list of, and then we can type in maps. Okay, as we start to get maps in, you'll see right here, this list of maps to include in a packaged build. Inside of your projects, you probably imported a lot of assets because that's kind of what we were doing. We're playing with assets, learning how to build our levels. And a lot of those packaged assets that you downloaded out of the marketplace have levels included in them that we're not going to use. They're not part of your game, right? So we don't need to build those out. So let's just focus on ones that we want to build. And that's what this is going to let us do. We're going to go ahead and right in here, there'll be a spot where it says arrays. You probably do not have any indexes under it like I do right here, okay? Yours will probably look a lot like this, right? But once you start hitting the plus button right here, the add element, you'll start to get arrays, okay? Now, if you're following along exactly the way I did in the video, we have 4 levels, okay? We have our main menu, we have level 1, level 2, and level 3. Okay, now these have to be put in exactly the way they are in our game. Fortunately, when you click on these little 3 buttons right here, okay, what it does is it's going to open up, and it should take you to, let me just double check something real quick. I guess I can do it while I have this open. Yeah, okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit the 3 buttons, and it should take you to your project. If it doesn't, kind of like it did to me here, just kind of dump me off somewhere. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and find my actual project, okay, and go into my Unreal Engine projects, and then find my Rollerball project. Roller game, there it is. All right, and then go into your content. Okay, and then find your levels or your maps, whatever you called that folder. And what we want is, I usually do this in order so I can keep track. So the first one was the main menu, and we want the U map, okay? I'm going to do this again. This time it should open you up. You're going to take your level 1 U map. We do not want the data built. We don't want the built data assets. Okay. We do that for level 2. And we're going to do the same thing for level 3. All right, so now all of those are listed here. Those are the only ones that we're actually going to package for this project. We're not going to end up messing around with anything else that doesn't need to be packaged. It doesn't need to be built out or looked at by Unreal Engine as it's building and packaging our project. Okay, so with that done, we're going to go ahead and cross out. We're going to undo the list of. That's all done. We're just going to go ahead and close that. Make sure you go to File, Save All, so everything gets saved. All right. Now we're going to go back here to platforms again. We're going to hit the down arrow. We're going to hover over here at Windows, okay? And when we hover at Windows, we want to change it from whatever its default here is, which is probably use project settings development, or development rather. And we want to put it on shipping, okay? So select shipping. It's going to close on you. Go back to platforms again. Go to Windows. And this time at the very top, we want to go ahead and package the project, okay? Now what it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, we're going to do it. Where do you want to put it? And if this was the last thing I had open, I'm going to pop up to the top of my project here, my roller project, and I'm actually going to create a new folder for it again. And I'll be creative and call this build out 3. Okay. I'm going to select that folder. And what should happen now is it should make a little noise, and then it'll start to package. You'll have this window open up down here at the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and pause while it does this. Okay, so mine's still building, but I did want to talk a little bit about the show output log. So if you click on it and bring this up, this output log is running through every step that your computer is going through, an Unreal Engine is going through, to build out this game. And mine should be done here shortly, but as you scroll through it, you can take a look and see all the different things that were happening. And you know, as you look through it, you can see if there's any yellow or any red. If there's red in here, that may end up causing the build to fail. And that's one of the things you want to look for if for whatever reason you open up that folder and there's nothing in it. If it's empty, that is because something failed inside your game. And take a little bit of troubleshooting, but a lot of the times when I see things fail with some of my students, it's things like some of their blueprints are bad, so you need to fix some of their blueprints. The music, if it's referencing some music and the audio is missing, that could also cause a problem. Anything that has to do with missing assets, so if some of your static meshes disappear for whatever reason, and this is common in some of my classrooms, is some of the default static meshes in Unreal Engine disappear, things like the cube and the cylinder for whatever reason, and those need to be put back in order for the game to actually build properly, because it's going to look for that static mesh. And if it can't find it, even if you've modified it and your game looks like everything's working just fine in it, if it's referenced to that static mesh, it's going to look for it. The other issue is if you've gone in and you've moved your level folders around since you built out your game, then you'll need to go back into your project settings here, like we did here when we first set them up, into our package settings and the list of maps. Delete all those maps out and then redirect them back to the new maps to where they're located. Double check to make sure you don't have 2 maps with the same name. That can happen if they're in different folders. And so those are some of the errors that you might run into when you're building this out, and if the game doesn't package properly, the folders are empty, you get something that says failed to build, failed to package, some sort of a red error in here. Look for those type of things. And the red errors oftentimes will kind of give you, there we go. So this is packaged is complete. You should see that at the end, and this window will go, this little gray window will go away. But again, the errors, if it gives you a red error, read through and see what it says, because a lot of the times the information as to why your game didn't build out will be located inside this output log. All right, so now that it's built, we can go in and I can go back to my build out 3 windows, and it should be all in there. Okay, and if I double click on this, all right, and there we have it. We should have our mouse in here, be able to hit the start button, and you should be able to play your game now. Okay, and now with that folder, you can take that folder and move it again. Go ahead and stop this. All right, so again, this entire folder right here, the Windows one, you'll need that. That's why I like putting it into an additional folder like Build Out 3, or you can call it whatever your game is. You can rename this Windows folder here if you want. Always forget what the shortcut is for this. But anyway, so you know, if you want to name it, give it a name, and there you have it. All right. So that is it for this particular video, for tutorial, and for this game series. Hopefully you learned a few things from it. Hopefully I was able to explain some things to help you out. If you do want to know a little bit more about all the processes that you can do inside of Unreal Engine for building out games, you can go here. I'll put this link on here, but this is for packaging projects, so sharing and releasing projects. Now this one says for 5.0, but interestingly enough, I've noticed when I click on a lot of these, you'll get this little green banner at the bottom that says it has not been updated, but the same concepts and ideas are the same in 5 as they are in 4.27 or 2.6. So again, back up here, there we go. This gives you a lot of information and kind of gives you some ideas about what all these different tabs and things do inside of the build. Again, we just took a real simple, direct approach to this. If you have any questions, you can always put them down in the content. Let me go ahead and bring this back up. Okay. And again, you can go ahead and check out my other videos. You can, if you like what you saw, please like this video. And again, subscribe. I will see you next time.